All right, we're here with head coach Zach Zedrick as he's going to make his announcement on our 2020 signing class. First, before you talk about the two signees, what do you look for when you're looking for a potential new Miami golfer?
Oh boy. Well, obviously, we want to perform at a high level on the golf course. So, we're looking for, from a results standpoint, from an evaluation standpoint, there's a lot of things um, that go into figuring out if someone is a right fit there. One thing I'll say on top of that though is I think the skill barrier to get over is a lot lower than most high school age players think. A lot of it for us comes down to all of the intangibles and the way that they would fit within the culture of our program. I could probably sum it all up into two statements. One is that at the end of the day, there are people that want to be good at something, and then there are people that have to be good at something. And that's a subtle but very significant difference. And a lot of what we do through the recruiting process is to figure out the guys that have to get better at something, because those are the guys that are going to do whatever it takes to maximize their abilities and their potential to play the game, and then that happens to trickle into all the other areas of their life. One question that I typically ask myself as we get pretty close to the end as far as the recruiting phase of someone that might join our program is I think to 36 whole days at tournaments. They're really long days. Oftentimes we're up, some days even before 5 a.m. and we're having breakfast together. We're going out to the golf course. We're playing 36 holes. Oftentimes we end up arriving at the golf course as the sun's coming up and we're leaving as it's setting. So it's a full day. And the question I ask myself is, after all of that, is this a person I'd be willing to sit down with after a 36-hole day, have a dinner and conversation with? And if I answer a resounding yes to that, the funny thing is that it answers yes to a lot of other questions you have about someone's character and someone's desire and someone's ability to be coached and to want to get better. So there's certainly a ton of things that we evaluate during the recruiting process, but you could pretty much sum it up into those two things.
All right, so you have two seniors that are graduating, and you have two coming in to kind of replace them. First, let's talk about Scott Bitar. He's from Pennsylvania, and what can you tell us about him?
So Scotty's someone that came onto our radar a little later in the recruiting process. He's from the Fox Chapel area, which is the same area that pretty close to where Jack Katarinczyk, who's going to be graduating, where he grew up in the Pittsburgh area. And he's someone that I think, outside looking in, people would consider maybe a little bit of a late bloomer. What I think is impressive about Scott is he's just consistently gotten better and better and better with each and every year of high school, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is someone that could play at a really high level. He has an incredible work ethic. He is someone that, for his age, is I think very mature. He's one of those guys that he's always looking for ways to get better, not only in golf but in other areas of his life. He's very well read. He has interests just outside of golf even, but he's someone that, like I said, has flown a little under the radar, and then all of a sudden, going into the beginning of his senior year, there were several schools that all of a sudden were there and were very interested, and we were fortunate to come out on top there. I think Scott is someone that really is going to value the educational component to his experience here, but he really has aspirations to play at a very high level outside of even when he would graduate from here. So I think he's going to add. He's going to continue to cultivate and add to the competitiveness on a daily basis with our program. Like I said earlier, he's very coachable. He knows where his game's at right now, the things he does well, but the things that he's going to really need to improve over the next 4 years if he wants to play at a high level, not only in college but as a professional. And I as a coach, that's something I really appreciate, is he's coming in with a pretty good understanding of, okay, these are the handful of things that I really need to improve at, and this is how Miami can help me do that. So we're really looking forward to having him join us.
And the other recruit has got a pretty unique backstory. Igor Zotov is from Moscow, but also lived several years in London and has been in the last few years in Florida. So what can you tell us about him?
Yeah, the thing that's cool about Igor is he's pretty much seen the whole world, and I think his adjustment to college could be a little smoother just because of that. He's had to take on a lot of personal responsibility, just even finishing up his last 2 years of school in Florida. It's just a different experience than what you or I might have gone through living at home and going to school close by. So he's competed all over the world. He's represented Russia in competition as a junior, and hopefully through his play over the next summer, we'll be able to start doing that at the amateur level as well. He did actually graduate a year ago, so he's taking a gap year, which I think will be really beneficial for his development as a player. When we've done this before, when we've added a player who took a gap year for that extra year of development, and I think that's going to be really important for Yegor, because he has kind of the raw physical skill sets. I think he needs a little bit more seasoning from a competition standpoint, and he is based out of London now. He's going to be playing a ton of golf in Europe from January through basically the beginning of August, and because he has been a fairly accomplished player in Russia, that's affording him opportunities to play really in some of the highest level events in Europe, and even a couple of events that are really elite level events in the world of amateur golf. So I think this extra year of competition is going to put him in a position where he could have come in this fall. I think competitively it would have been a big-time adjustment for him, but with this additional year of preparation with the tournaments he has lined up, which is pretty incredible, he's going to be someone that will come in as a freshman and push right away, which is awesome.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.